Chair Varga, myself and Chair Varga will be presenting. I'll be sending you over after I touch bases with Chair Varga and make sure she's on board with what we had discussed previously regarding the $15 minimum wage for you to review for us to take the necessary appropriate action. So like I mentioned, initially it is the resolution. So I'm just letting you know I'll be sending that over to you by the week's end for consideration by the commission.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
We do have Commissioner, I had done an evaluation of that.
Oh, you remember you already told, yeah, you mentioned that. So I was going to let you flush that out,
and I don't know what adjustments at this point in time the administration is proposing regarding that matter, but I'll work with them to see the totality of the cost at this point in time, and see, I don't know where we will go with it, but we will certainly, put it on the table for discussion.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I do plan to have a meeting prior to actually very soon, hopefully, with CFO and others.
Go ahead, please.
And others with Mark and the CFO, hopefully. And we can talk about things that we would like to make that are addressed in the coming budget.
Yes.
And I'm hoping to have a hat trick up our sleeves so that way we can make it a 3 times budget that we had all agreed on. So hopefully we can do it again this year. We did it 2 years in a row. And I'd like to do it again. So I'd like to have all of us be on the same page if we can. So no last minute amendments or anything. So I would hope this year that all of the elected officials go right now to the CFO if they have not yet, with their wish list, and not only their wish list, but must-haves. And because at the end of the day, last minute, I don't anticipate to take amendments from elected officials to add in to the budget. So I'm hoping that everyone will work with the CFO and of course with us too, because this is going to be our budget. But what they're sending down, I'm hoping that most of the elected officials will be okay with, or at least they have been heard by the CFO of what their needs and their mostly their needs are going to be in the next budget. And that's important that everybody gets to have a budget that they can work with, because we all serve the same constituents in Wayne County. So I'm sure that to that end, everyone's trying to work together on that.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The conversation that we had a few weeks ago that you had facilitated regarding the Wayne County Sheriffs and the Marine Division. Has there been any movement, feedback, or in regards to those conversations?
No feedback, but it's still on the list.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, we have to make sure that the sheriff makes a very strong case himself. I mean, the Sheriff Washington, strong case for it, and ask for it in his budget.
Correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes, thank you. So is this an invitation for committee members, committee commissioners to put in requests that we would like to see discussed at this time instead of waiting to the end of the budget?
Yes, I would like you to send it to me and Mark Gabo,
Okay,
and then I will take those. So if you could have it to me ASAP, that would be.
Okay.
Oh, Could we have it by the end of next week?
Not the end of next week, end of this week.
end of this week. Okay,
Wow,
sounds good.
okay.
I will do that. Thank you.
Let me-
Yeah, we work, by next week, I'm hoping to have a meeting with the CFO, Mark Abbo, the chair of the commission, Commissioner Powell, and others to see what we can agree on, what we're expecting in the budget, what the shortfalls may be, all of the ins and outs of what goes into the making of the budget. But I would like to have all of your asks by the end of the week.
Okay, question. The American Recovery Plan dollars, is that a separate conversation? Or would that be developed out of this budget that we'll be working on based on the calendar that Mr. Abdo had mentioned?
Separate and together, Mark,
The amount of that, Commissioner, is $339 million, and the feds have given us 3 years to spend it. So I would expect that some part of that would be included in this year's budget. I'm not aware how much at this point in time, but I'm sure some part of it will be included. I know that the administration is really considering utilizing that money more for infrastructure type expenditures rather than operational type expenditures, because it's a one-time shot of money, and you know, to take on additional annual recurring expenditures may be problematic going forward once that money is no longer available. But I would expect to see some of that money in this year.
Thank you. Okay.
I would expect a lot of the upfront monies to be probably, well,
I'll have to double check exactly how the accounting for that money is, Commissioner. Generally, when we receive grant money, it's really a liability until we spend it, and we just move it out of into revenue as the expenditure is incurred, and into revenue as we propose to budget for it. So that's how I would expect to see it now. The CARES money was all put into Fund 298, and I expect probably something similar for the ARP money, but we'll see. We'll have better answers for that shortly.
Thank you.
I was gonna guess at what, but I closed my mouth. I said, no, I'm not gonna speak for any of them. Commissioner Hedges?
Thank you. I really wanna, if you give me more clear answer to this, is you asking us to submit our wish list to the CFO. Is that including all the capital project in our district, road, bridges, ditches, or any certain area? What, you know, I could have used the whole budget in my district, really. I have so
Well,
many things been way behind in time, but I want to know what you asking for exactly.
now, let me just say that I know that we all feel that Meals on Wheels should be fully funded. It's those kinds of things that we deal with every year in the budget. As far as roads, projects and things like that, to be specific on a specific road, no. I would not expect that to be part of this discussion as far as for the budget. Mark helped me out on some of the items that they may want to.
What's qualify for your request and what's not?
You can send me whatever you want and I'll take it to them. But I would like to make sure that the services that our constituents are receiving this year will continue and be fully funded. Other than that, I really don't have personally any other except for the $15 minimum wage that I would like to see all of our Wayne County employees receive from here on in.
I mean, a perfect example of that, and I don't know if we can do it again, but in years past, we always used to talk about that pension stipend that was going through, or anything that the county may be doing that we want to do more of, type of expenditures, for the benefit of our citizens. Those types of expenditures I would expect. I haven't seen anything from the roads about what their priorities are, but
Miller Bridge.
there you go, Miller Bridge.
or drain, or as you know, we have so much problems in township and cutting the median, cutting the high weed and intersection where they hide in traffic sign. There's so many issues. That's why this. And when I heard this request by end of this week, I felt there's so many things you're gonna put the administration already working on. We already debate a lot of those things in some other committee in board and the full board and everything. So that's why I hesitate to jam the CFO with a lot of repeated issue on the table. So that's why I asked for clarification on this. I'm not certain I have the right answer for it, but we'll work it out. I might give you a call, Mr. Apple and Chair Varga, or to the CFO to make sure we clear and we do the right thing and to not put more reading and paper on the table that already been in the process.
Well, we usually don't put specific roads, specific projects like that into the budget for the roads department because they do have their priority list and they have their 5-year priority. I don't know if they're done organizing it yet, but overall budget. So it's mostly about the everyday services. Has anybody come to you, for example, from the clerk's office and say, I need 1 or 2 more staff that you're supporting that you would like to see in the budget, things like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a difficult path to navigate this year with all of the federal stimulus money. I mean, I know that the county is getting $339 million, but recall that the state of Michigan is getting money in the billions. And so for the first time in a long time, the state will be able to accomplish some of the infrastructure needs and desires that they've had. And I'm sure a lot of that will come to Wayne County. So, it's kind of, do we spend our money or do we wait and see what the state is going to spend their money on before we commit, so that we'll have more available of the $339 million that the county is getting. So it's, I think to a large extent, what I've seen for a lot of communities, it's kind of a wait and see to see what the priorities of those levels of government above are as they filter down.
Well, I'm sorry.
Through the chair, there was effort by the governor and many voice from all over the country complaining against the restriction the federal government put on some of the money. Because I really believe personally there are many other areas it's qualified, but the restriction of the money preventing us to use some of the money in the area where we feel we need it badly in our area. Different region, different city, different township have a different need sometimes. So there any progress on that effort with the federal to ease the restriction on that? Mr. Apple could say.
they came out with some Treasury regulations that were not as flexible as I thought that they were, but I keep on hearing the same thing. There's pressure on the federal government to ease those restrictions so the money can be utilized in a broader infrastructure sense, rather than just sewer, water, and broadband was the basic guidelines that were pushed through initially. So I do expect that will happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do expect that it will happen. The Treasury will broaden those guidelines.
I hope so.
It would seem like we should just concentrate on our budget, period, at this point, because it is vague and it doesn't seem like that money's going to fill anything in the budget per se. I don't think we should even count on that towards the budget unless something happens and the administration says it can be done, because just the way the restrictions are coming out. So,
Well, I expected someone to say that we would like to make, we would like to make sure that townships funding for roads will remain in the budget, things like that. More broader than project specific.
Yep.
Commissioner Baydun, Commissioner Anderson, and then Commissioner Baydun. You're muted, Glenn.
Said maybe you can come back to me in a few minutes. I know the one project that I have been talking about for the last 5 years, it's still not been done. And last year we had a commitment that it was going to be done.
I
That's
tried.
it. Yeah, well, just wanted you to know. All right, that's all right now.
Project specific, I can't promise, but we'll keep working. Commissioner Baydun, then Commissioner, go ahead.
It's rated, if I could, Madam Chair, it's rated as one of the worst roads in the mapping that we've had. It's rated as a poor road. So.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, before I start my remarks, I want to support whatever Commissioner Anderson is trying to get for his district. I just want to put that on the record. Sounds like it's something serious. But I agree with Mark Abbo's analysis. We should probably, see what the state is going to do with all of this money. Wayne County is the largest county in the state, and we should get a big bucket of this money, and we should concentrate on trying with this 338 million to develop projects in our communities that are going to benefit the publics, and we have 43 communities that would benefit from all of this money. I like Mark Abbo's approach in seeing what the state is going to do with a lot of this money in terms of getting some to Wayne County and what they could spend it on. Obviously, there are restrictions, and we need to continue to monitor the restrictions and see what could be done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Kinloch.
Yes, I guess it's similar to what Commissioner Baydun and Mark said. We were talking about the American Recovery Plan dollars, but we're hearing in media reports and even conversations and other settings that I've been in where they're also talking about the infrastructure dollars. I believe a lot of the discussions this morning or afternoon has been around important infrastructure issues, within Wayne County. But so those are a whole separate pot of dollars that will also come into play. And so I absolutely believe that what we should do is recommend to the chair, give our recommendation to the chair. And then, of course, the administration, CFO, and our staff would determine whether or not it could, if we don't have to use general fund dollars, but we can actually use American Recovery dollars in that instance. But it seems like there's a few pots of money or resources that will be coming our way that we will be able to respond to as many projects as we possibly can that many of the commissioners who've been around longer than I have been trying to have have dealt with.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Markey?
Yeah, I think economic development and the CEOs group and everything has been trying to reach out to to all the communities to see what their projects' desires are, if they're able to work it into this $339 million. And they're really on top of this, like big time, to see what this can be used for and what people need. And so luckily that's happening, and how it fits into just our budget at this time is like Mark said, we don't know yet. So, because there's certain restrictions on this, like you can't, fill certain budget holes. There's certain things that you cannot do with it for sure. So luckily right now they are on top of this as we start our budget talks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I can, to that point.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to thank Commissioner Marecki for bringing that up. Clearwater Hall and Wafat Dinero and the Economic Development Team have reached out to all the 42 communities to make sure that there's a conversation in place. I believe every commissioner was invited. We've been doing it by commission district so that a couple of cities at a time can be on. And number one, just hear that, what we're thinking about. Really, it's a presentation from Guidehouse, and it's also a pledge by the county to make Guidehouse available as much as possible for our local communities, especially the smaller ones who might not have access, to their own consultants on this. We want to make sure that these communities are getting as much information as they can use when they start making priorities on how to spend the money. One of the messages that the team has been really drumming loudly is we shouldn't be in a rush to spend this. There are going to be more rules around how it can be used. There are other pots of money that may be coming, especially in terms of infrastructure dollars. So we want to make sure that we are using the funds, the restricted funds much more into those restricted areas, not using money that we could use for other things in those restricted funds. So there's a lot going on here. I believe the goal is going to be to make sure we do it right and to not just get something dumped in for this, this fiscal budget coming up. If any of you individually have questions about that, would like to talk to economic development, please let's set that up and have that discussion if you weren't able to make the Zoom meetings with your communities. But I think it's been very helpful. It seems that the communities are starting to, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of money to spend. You want to make sure you do it right. The last thing anybody wants, any government wants, is to have to give money back because it just wasn't done right. Or because you just didn't understand it, didn't spend it. Nobody wants to give that money back. It's really needed in our communities. So I just wanted to bring that up, piggyback on Commissioner Marecki's comments about the current outreach that's been happening.
I'm really proud of how the administration and economic development is handling that. I know I met with my communities and they all have more in common on the things that they need to get done than not. And one of the things that everybody was in my district, both of the communities really wanted to make sure that we get these lead pipes out of the way when the money comes in from the feds. So using those dollars for heavy lifting that normally a community could not do, and it's a one-time big expense for sewers. I think a lot of the communities are probably feeling the same way as Lincoln Park and Melvindale, like in my district. So I'm really looking forward to getting the most for our bucks for our community. But I am so proud and I'm so glad that they are working with the communities to see, because I can see down the road where they might be able to get better service because they could maybe procure the service for more people instead of every little community doing their own. I mean, I see that myself, but I could be wrong. That might be a little cheaper than if the communities went separately and procured it on their own. So there's a lot of good ideas the communities are talking about, and I'm looking forward to those discussions as we get the monies to do that. But Andy, please give my thanks and my gratitude to the team for doing that.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
and just to emphasize too, what Andy and you said, I think this team is amazing because they know how much money each community is getting from that first pot of money that came. You know, everybody got a different amount of money, each community, but encouraging those communities not to spend anything yet, because down the road, there may be a match with these other pots of money coming, and you could turn 5 million into 15 million. And like someone mentioned, we have 3 years to spend this money. So I think if everybody just sits back and waits to see what the overall picture is, I think the economic development team has been like brilliant with this stuff. And I think they'll really be able to watch out for each community and see what they can really get the most bang for their buck. So it's a kind of a great process to just sit back and watch at this point and see what happens.
Thank you. Commissioner Martha G. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there any way, and you know, I've been back here 10 years and I haven't gotten anything in the budget, okay? And now I hear you say that you have to go to, you know, the county exec staff too. I had never heard that before. I just thought it all came through you first. So tell me, after all my years, how am I supposed to do this stuff? You know, I wanted some monies for my community, for the young people, some projects that we had early on, and was never able to get these. So I want to know that if I put some stuff in, do I have an opportunity to get something?
Well, we never do if we don't ask. That's one. Two.
Well, I've been asking for 10 years.
Two, I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to have a wish list that we could work off of, whether it's for this year, next year, whenever we can fit it in, when the monies come in. I know the pandemic really put a wrench in all our plans, because I know we talked about wanting to do some kind of youth programming. And the best thing that we could do was to give more money last year to the Michigan State University Wayne County Extension that they were not going to get. So we made sure that they had their $200-some thousand that they needed to survive and to even thrive even during the pandemic. I would really like to see us use that organization more than we are, because they are in all of our districts. And so it would be really good to make sure that they're fully funded. And I'm all for trying to make sure, if we can, to give them a little extra so they could do a little more for each of our districts. But that's a conversation that I'm going to have as my wish list with the CFO when I do get to meet with him.
Okay,
Chair.
just a moment, sir. I'm not finished. Can I continue?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know you were.
And
Continue.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, the Meals on Wheels for Western Wayne, I believe there is no waiting list. Now, I represent the other portion that comes to DAAA. Now, is it possible to get some dollars, because I do have some people in my Hamtramck and Highland Park that are on the waiting list? Is it possible to get some monies for that?
I will check into that, Commissioner, for you.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Now, Mr. Kenlock, you can go on.
Well, actually, it was Commissioner Hadis first, and then Commissioner Kinlock.
Okay.
Have a list.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I listened to this request and put time on it to respond before end of this week, and today it's Tuesday. Commissioner like myself, I have 7 municipalities in my district, 3 of them township and 4 cities. Even if I know some of the issue and those communities, I think to be accurate and address the need, I need to communicate with those 7 communities and see what's the priority they need, because every city or township, it's a different than the other. Give us no time to be able to communicate with 7 mayor or township supervisor to see what's the most important issue they face. And I might see it differently, but after all, I work for them, I serve them. I need to know what they have, and you give us only less than 3 days to come up with wish list that concerns 7 municipalities. In my case, I think the time it's too short, and I think we should have way more time than that to be able to communicate and put reasonable, intelligent request, not shoot from the hip. Just because I think the most important issue it's the ditch, or somebody else think mostly the bridge, or definitely wheel and meal. It's very important, but we need to have a good communication. As Commissioner Maraki mentioned, the Economic Development Department and the administration been communicate with those municipalities to address their issue. And some of them have a problem with the technicality and qualify the money for what they want or not. That's why I was asking about the restriction. But I hope we learn a lesson from today is we need more time in that area when you're going to request commissioner to submit their wish list, to give them a chance to go back to their communities and see what's their wish list. My wish list, it's my 7 municipality wish list. So it's my thought. Thank you.
I must apologize. I didn't mean that we are going to be able to put every community's needs are in our budget. What I was more thinking more broadly, as we have in the past, as the importance of what we usually put in the budget each year. Some years they did not have Meals on Wheels fully funded. Last year, that was on our list from the commission, that we want to make sure that the Meals on Wheels will be fully funded. There were some other lists that we wanted to make sure that the clerk had a couple extra staff that she was asking for. It was more broader than going to each municipality for what their needs are, because there's no way that we can put all those into the budget. It's the usual things that we fund or have not fully funded that I was when I said about the wish list. So I apologize. I probably should not even mentioned it. I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity of saying, hey, if you don't give Michigan State University their full funding, I'm not going to vote for the budget. Or if you don't fully fund something that we always do. Or I heard from the sheriff, and the sheriff needs, and I did hear that they need a new building. So it's those kinds of things, not necessarily the money is going to the community, but rather the services that we pay for running the county with our elected officials. You know, it could be that somebody might have gotten a call from the Register of Deeds and said, you know, I need this or I need that, and you would think that it was important enough to bring it to the front in order for it to be placed in the budget as it comes down from, you know, from the executive. So it's that kind of list that I was thinking about, but the list does not end. Whenever you have any issues at all, the budget is a living document, so we can work on it all year long. And so if I say I would like to have this list, I probably should have been more specific and clearer on my intentions of what I was looking for feedback. If you like last year's budget, we want to make sure that everything that we had in there last year stays in there. Plus, like Commissioner Kinlack and I were talking, and the chair and others, that we would like to see all our employees to have $15 an hour. That's a biggie. So it all centers around the services of what we give to the constituents from the county, as well as those who work with us and for us at the county. Does that make a little more sense, Commissioner
Well,
Hanson?
see, the way you describe it, so you're asking for a wish list, and only the service that county provide, like the veteran affair, the
Right.
way we meet,
Right,
only for the services that the county provide.
yes,
That it's more clear now than before, because
yes.
before you said your wish list. You know what? Somebody like me have a big wish list. I don't know if something wrong with me or not, but I know I have a big wish list because the need in my district, it's a huge, as you all know. So, but now you shrink that request is to only concern the services the county provide, not capital project, not municipality funding for certain project they can't afford. Now I think I have a better understanding on what you asking for.
Apologize.
Yeah, so I see it this way. As you all know, I'm very optimistic that the cup is half full, not empty. I'm glad we have the problem we have now, is we have money coming from the federal, from the state.
You froze up. Commissioner Hattis? All right, we lost him. Go ahead, Commissioner Kinlock.
No, that's fine. A lot of what we're discussing, like you said, just submit it to you, and then it'll move to the next stage. Thank you.
All I can do is highlight it and bring it to the attention that these are going to be some of the things that we're going to be looking for the budget, and a lot that will be already in there.
Yeah, because I was, from talking with, Commissioner, to the chairwoman regarding this just whole process, because I remember some years ago, the commission actually had Commissioner had the ability to identify, similar to what we do with the parks dollars, some nonprofits within our community. And when the county went through its financial challenges, they eliminated that ability for commission to designate resources to certain nonprofits within our district. So I'm hoping and I'm understanding that that will probably be another opportunity to address some of the needs in our commission districts.
Right. That's what Commissioner Martha G. Scott was talking about as well, that we were thinking about doing with the youth, because some of the nonprofits who work with youth would fall into that same kind of category. So we're all on the same page, it's just making it happen. Is something wrong with the, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I can, yep.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Commissioner Hattis, come back.
No, I'm all set.
Okay. You were a little froze there for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark Ebo, did I sum that up?
Yes. Actually, just to echo some of that, I mean, when we go through this budget, I mean, the administration's primary focus is going to be on general fund, general purpose dollars. And it deals with the services that we provide, register of deeds, probate, homeland security, clerk, the courts. The other stuff that comes from our enterprise funds is really a different pool of money. And I think that Commissioner Hattis was really referring to that type of stuff, particularly in the townships and the cities, some of the road dollars that are spent. And those guys get prioritized as well, but we'll have more opportunity even after budget season to deal with those priorities.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give you a little voice before, so I take your voices along with mine. Already, any other discussion under such other matters? I hear none. Mark, do you have anything else to add?
No, Commissioner, thank you.
Is there any way that we could emphasize to the electeds that we really need to stick to the schedule as much as we can? And they should let us know like immediately if they can't, so we don't mess up our dates.
Yes, we're hoping to work with the administration to finalize the timing and the dates, confirm as they are closer to release of the budget that they can accommodate it. And then we will be sending out to all the elected officials. And again, Terrence has always been great about being able to massage the dates and moving different electeds around to accommodate whatever particular scheduling conflict they may have. So I'm anticipating that we'll be able to do that in accommodating it. And we'll also take a hard look. Right now, we're scheduling like the prosecuting attorney the same day as the sheriff. We may move that and move them onto separate days, because I know that sometimes when we get into those large budgets, timing, additional time may be needed. So we'll work with the flexibility of that as well.
With the prosecutor having so many different programs and being able to air it all on the same day is really important. So I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, we may give her a little bit more time than just an hour.
Yeah, I like that idea, because most of us do ask a lot of questions of her because she does have a lot of good programs going. That sounds
Yes, yes, her programs affect the citizens of Wayne County in a lot of ways. So we'll make sure that we accommodate that as well. And I'm sure the sheriff will want to bring us up to date on, you know, the jail project. So we'll accommodate him as well.
Yes. And the one I really want to talk to him about, and I hope we get some question about when we move into the new, well, we won't be in the new jail under this, but the phone charges are so outrageous right now that we need to figure out how to best do that. Commissioner Anderson?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to back up. There was, I mentioned about Cherry Hill, and I did receive communication from Mr. Candrivas, and it sounds like they are scheduled to do a section of that. So, and maybe starting this week or next week.
Yay!
So we'll see.
Now
We'll see.
that
I
is
don't,
this year's budget.
it's not the entire project
I know.
because, but I made him aware of that too. So, but thanks.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay, there was just one more thing that the reason I mentioned about trying to stick to the schedule a little bit, as much as we can, Mark, is because like me, I'm going to be advertising this on Facebook, that we're going to be having these meetings, and some of them I haven't decided yet, but we may even go live on Facebook, and I'm not sure how that would work. I have to check with some folks, but I surely would like to make the best of having technology during this time so more people could watch the budget being made, or presented and made. That was my reason for making sure, because if we set something up and they can't make it, so when we get it all firm, then we should advertise, but not until then.
Okay.
Thank you much. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item G, public comments.
Would you please unmute everyone?
Everyone has been unmuted and we have received no emails.
Okay. Anyone in the public wishing to comment? Anyone on the phone or on Zoom wishing to comment? I hear none. Last time, this is public comments. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? I hear none. Next item.
Item H, adjournment.
So move, Madam Chair.
Support.
I love your hairdo.
Oh, thank you.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.